big man! Oh, it's pretty! It's so pretty!
The semifinals are here. On today's show, we will have an in-depth look at all four teams remaining in the playoffs: San Diego, Chihuahua, Kansas City, and Florida. All coming up next. This is MASL Primetime. What's up, everyone? I'm Alex Bastiavansky. It is so awesome to have you on board for today's show, and it's exciting stuff. It is semifinal time. The second round kicked off this week. San Diego takes on Chihuahua. In one matchup, Florida faces Kansas City in the other. Now, what we're going to do for the show this week is take an in-depth look at all four teams that remain in the playoffs and the road they took to get to this point. We start with the defending Ron Newman Cup champions, the San Diego Sockers.
Here's Churas. Churas with a step to the middle, to the left foot. Still open. Shoots. He scores! Brandon Escoto lights the lamp and sends the Sockers home happy. Golazo, golazo, golazo.
What more can be said about the season the San Diego Sockers have had? Undefeated in regulation time, with just one overtime loss as a blemish on their record entering the playoffs. The defending Ron Newman Cup champions entered the postseason as overwhelming favorites to repeat.
You know, I think that last season, the Sockers had a unique campaign of adversity, playing only on the road, struggling to a 4-6 regular season record, figuring it out in the playoffs. Even after winning the championship, there might have been people around the league that wondered, are the Sockers even good? Are they even a decent team? But what that Ron Newman Cup did for the players on the Sockers is it reinforced, yes, we are a great team. Yes, we are what we dream and purport ourselves to be. And the result was what you saw this regular season, a team that wanted to eliminate every excuse, every question that's being asked. They won 23 of 24. They didn't lose in regulation. They ended the regular season on a 20-match win streak, and they went undefeated against the top 6 teams in the MASL. There's almost nothing more you can say. The Sockers did everything they could possibly do in the regular season.
While the Sockers offense understandably gets most of the attention, Craig Elston believes the defense is truly what makes this squad so strong.
San Diego's defense is the best in the league. On regulation-sized fields, the club averaged allowing 3.5 goals per game this year. They took the top scorers in the league, whether it was Nick Pereira, Ian Bennett, Pereiras, Rios, go down the line, Frank Tayu, and shut them down.
But the offense is truly spectacular. Just look at San Diego's top 5 scorers. Led by Tavoy Morgan, the Sockers scored 182 goals, second most in the MASL during the regular season.
But when you talk about the Sockers offense, you're talking about the most unselfish unit in the MASL. Players who look for the open player, look for the extra pass, try and get the goal, and don't worry about the points distribution. And that's why you have 5 players around 40 points for the Sockers in the regular season. It's a team that shares.
Top-seeded San Diego faced 8th seed Milwaukee in the first round. The Sockers won both games, outscoring the Wave 18-5 in the process.
You know, it's pretty incredible because when you talk about the Wave, you're talking about one of the proudest organizations in all of indoor soccer, 7-time champions, had a great run to get to the end of the year. And it was just a different level for San Diego. You know, I thought the Wave really gave it their all on that game 1 in Milwaukee. And at halftime, we're dominating shots, we're dominating possession, and we're getting dominated on the scoreboard, losing 4-0. So it's really a sign of how San Diego can control the game, even when they're not controlling the game with their strong defense. And then it's just kind of a matter of time to break down the Wave defense. 9 goals each game. Hey, you can't say anything about that. You got to be happy about it.
But Chihuahua in the semifinal represents a whole different challenge. The Savage are one of the hottest teams in the league. And for game 1 in Mexico, the Sockers were missing several key players.
Soccer's unable to travel. Leonardo de Oliveira, Charlie Gonzalez, Guerrero Pino, all because of visa issues don't allow them to go south of the border. Then there's Brandon Escoto, who's been nursing an injury. He may not draw in as well. So soccer's definitely facing a challenge at Corner Sport Arena. Key for San Diego is going to be taking advantage of the regulation field at home at Pechanga Arena, stretching out Chihuahua. The Savage have only scored 3 goals in 2 matches playing San Diego in San Diego. The concept is let that lockdown defense shut down Chihuahua on the big field, regardless of what happens in Mexico.
Back in front.
Welcome back to MASL Primetime, everyone. You know, all season long, the Florida Tropics had just one goal, and that was to win the Ron Newman Cup Championship. After finishing last season on a down note, losing in the semifinals, nothing else would suffice this year. The Tropics feel it is their time to shine, and with a stacked lineup, don't bet against the boys from the Sunshine State. Here's more now on the Tropics.
Along with Nascimento in goal. Here's Ruggles, long shot, goal!
Goals like that were commonplace for the Florida Tropics this season. With a potent offense and stingy defense, the Tropics shot out of the gate and up until late March had lost just a single game in regulation time. But Florida stumbled slightly down the stretch, losing 3 of their final 5 contests. For Tropics broadcaster Brian Ackley, though, it was nothing to get concerned about.
Yeah, it was really a tale of 2 seasons because we had such a home-heavy schedule to begin with. We started the season on the road with a couple of games and then had 9 straight home games. And when you have 9 straight home games, the math tells you got to finish on the road with a bunch of games. And that's how March was. I think we played like 9 or 10 games in March alone. And so I think the schedule had a lot to do with it, and load management, to use that sports term, trying to get the players through that stretch of games with the playoffs in mind. So, the fact that we weren't great down the stretch, I think, was a combination of a lot of little things that aren't all that alarming in terms of going into the playoffs. And I think that showed certainly with beating a good St. Louis team in 2 straight.
Here's a look at Florida's top scorers from the regular season. Goals were certainly not a problem for Coach Clay Roberts and his team. The Tropics rang up 179 tallies, 3rd most in the MASL. They were led by their captain, Victor Pereras.
He has taken his game to a new level, which honestly I didn't know he had. He's been very, very good. He's been all MASL, I think 2nd team. But he clearly took his game to a new level this year, career high in goals, in assists. And he's a quiet leader. He is the captain, but he's a do as I do kind of guy, not do as I say. And he's just been spectacular this year. He was an all first team vote for me on the postseason balloting recently that the MASL did. But they're deep. I mean, Zach Rega came back and had a great year. Last year was kind of a lost season for Zach, and I think so many really in the league. He gained some confidence, a lot of confidence, by being picked to be on the U.S. national futsal team before the summer or before the season started last summer. And I think that really helped his confidence. I think it just helped him to understand the game more.
Hugo Silva was a rock star for the Tropics this season and one of the league's top goaltenders. But due to visa issues, the native of Brazil hasn't been able to play since January.
The big question always is in goal, because when you lose a guy like Hugo Silva, I mean, I'm not sure people really appreciate just how great he was this year. So we've had to kind of go to Plan B, but Plan B's worked out fairly well also with Rainer House and also George Navarrete, who has been a great surprise, even though he's been with the team since 2016. Those two split the games in St. Louis, or against St. Louis, and they were very good in both.
In the quarterfinals, Florida faced a determined St. Louis team, but were able to knock off the ambush in 2 straight games.
Yeah, St. Louis, I mean, it was fun, first of all, just to be in the playoffs and have a home playoff game. We've actually won 44 games over the last 3 season regulation time games. That's most of any team in the league. I think San Diego was second with 42 regulation wins over the last 3 years. So to actually be in the playoffs and have a home game, just in and of itself was really exciting. First time in 6 years we've had a home game. I think in the end, the Tropics just kind of out-talented them just a little bit, but not that big a margin between St. Louis and what fans might consider the elite teams in the league, in my opinion.
In the semifinal, the second-seeded Tropics are taking on number 3 Kansas City. Ackley feels the teams are about as evenly matched as can be.
Honestly, if there was ever a coin flip series, I think this is it. We'll see what happens in game 2, and if we need a mini game, I think you could play this series 100 times, and Kansas City might win 51, and we might win 49 times, or we might win 51, and they would win 49 times. I mean, I don't see much difference between either team at all. I think they're deep, talented, experienced. I mean, Leo Gibson is just so fun to watch, but that team is so much more than just Leo. These 2 teams have great history, and I expect whatever happens on Saturday night will be wildly entertaining, and fans aren't going to want to miss it.
Welcome back to MASL Primetime, everyone. You know, the Kansas City Comets looked like legitimate title contenders right out of the gate this season. The Comets started off the campaign on a 6-game winning streak and comfortably finished first in the Central Division. They are dead set on bringing the city its first arena soccer title since 2014. Here's more on the Comets now.
Leo on the volley, and Leo with the side net. The legend continues.
Yes, Leo Gibson added another chapter to his already legendary career this season. But the Comets have shown they're much more than just their superstar player coach. Kansas City finished first in the Central Division with a solid 13-9-1 record.
I think if you ask the Comets, I think they would probably tell you honestly that their record should be a little bit better. There are a couple of games, 2, 3, 4 games where the Comets probably think that they should have had a couple of games. So I think while they're disappointed, I think mission accomplished in terms of winning the division, getting one of the top 3 seeds, heading into postseason.
Here's a look at KC's top 5 scorers, with Gibson, of course, leading the way. But check out John Sosa's 37 points in 19 games. Astronomical numbers for a defender. Overall, Comets broadcaster Nick Vassos likes the mix of youth and experience.
I tell you, the young players really look up to Leo. He has so much experience and has so much patience. He's one of those guys that just makes everybody around him so much better. And I think that's what his teammates appreciate most about Leo. I think the Comets have a really nice midfield developing. They've got a veteran player like Nacho Flores, who has really played well in postseason. You've got this new kid, Benji Monreal, which I'm sure a lot of the fans around the MASL saw his goal. Also a strength, I think, is Neto in goal. While Neto may not be 100%, he sure does make a lot of saves, and it makes it really hard for the opposition to finish their chances.
When asked what the Comets need to work on, however, Vassos didn't hesitate for a second with his answer.
Defense, counterattacks. The Comets have been susceptible to counterattacks late in the regular season, and as we have seen with some teams, their keeper, once the keeper gets the ball, the keeper will distribute it down the field and throw long for a streaking player or two, hoping to get the counterattack against some of the less swifty players that the Comets have on their back lines.
The Comets were pushed to the limit by Dallas in their quarterfinal best-of-3 series. Up next will be the number 2 seed Florida Tropics. Vassos hopes the Comets can take what they learned against the Sidekicks and apply it in the semifinal.
I think it was good for the Comets to face a Dallas team that was really tough to get by. I tell you, Dallas is going to be a tough team next year. They are a worthy opponent. The Comets have a team in front of them that is going to be focused, and they're going to be determined because this is their third chance. And, I'm thinking that, this is the time that they need to make it count. So we'll see. But I think, Florida's going to be a big, big challenge for Kansas City.
Welcome back to MASL Primetime. So no question about it, the Chihuahua Savage are the team that nobody wanted to face in the postseason. Despite starting the campaign winless in 7 games, the Savage finished up as one of the hottest teams in the MASL. And Corner Sport Arena in Chihuahua might just be the most intimidating place to play in the entire league. No question about it. San Diego will have its hands full in this semifinal. More now on the Savage.
Carlitos, que anoten, viene Río, la dispara, ¡gol! 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 ¡Gol!
The Chihuahua Savage have been one of the best stories in the MASL this season. The first-year squad entered the playoffs, having won 16 of its last 17 games. Incredibly, though, the Savage lost its first 7 games of the campaign. But for Oscar Sanchez, the MASL's manager of Spanish content, that wasn't actually a huge surprise.
I was expecting that they're going to be struggling in the first because they are a new team. They didn't know the league, but I didn't thought that they were going to lose 7 in a row. I thought they were maybe 3 or 4, then win 1, and they were going to walk on the season. They start adding experienced players in the league, and I think that's why they start making it better. Before after the 7 losses, they won 7 in a row. So that was the big change of Chihuahua, and they have a spectacular season.
Chihuahua's offense is, in a word, terrifying. It racked up 185 goals in the regular season, tops in the MASL.
I think they have a good offense. Jorge Rios has made a great season. Even he don't start with the team. He was one of the additions at the mid-season, and he has a great performance. But I think they have a good offense. They are very strong at home, and I think that would be a key for them on this playoff, on this semifinal.
Yes, playing at home is a big advantage for Chihuahua, and not just because the fans are so intense and right on top of the action, but also due to the small dimensions of the pitch. Now, understandably, Berna Valdivinos has been under fire in goal on that small field all season, but he's established himself as one of the top keepers in the league. Now, in the first round, Chihuahua knocked off Baltimore in 3 dramatic games, which Oscar Sanchez feels will be a massive confidence boost for them going forward.
Baltimore always is one of the greatest teams, the history they had, the player they had, and now that they beat them coming back, I think that's going to be a great confidence for them. And facing San Diego, they are the only team that they take 1 point with San Diego when they face each other. So I think that they are thinking on that game, and they think they could make the final.
And now Chihuahua face West Division rival San Diego. It promises to be an epic series, and Sanchez feels that home field will be oh so important for both squads.
Yeah, I think San Diego is the toughest team you can face right now. They are undefeated on the season. They have a lot of confidence. They had They have been playing together a few seasons. What can do Chihuahua? What could be their strengths? The home field, I think. Playing at home is a smaller court. Obviously, I think San Diego is the favorite, but by a little margin, it's not that big the difference right now against each other.
And what do you know? Yep, home field was important for Chihuahua. They took game one 7-6 on the tight confines of their home pitch. We're going to have the highlights for you of all the games on next week's show. But Chihuahua leads 1-0. Game 2 goes this Sunday at Pechanga Arena in San Diego, 5:05 p.m. local time. And in the other semifinal, Kansas City, the number 3 seed, taking down number 2 Florida 8-7 in the opening game to take a 1-0 lead in this series. Game 2 goes Saturday at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. And we are going to have all the highlights, as I said, on next week's show from all 4 games. Just a final look here at the playoffs so far. San Diego beat Milwaukee. Kansas City took down Dallas. Florida swept St. Louis. Chihuahua took down Baltimore. And right now, Chihuahua leads San Diego 1-0. Kansas City leads the Florida Tropics 1-0 as well in that series. And that is going to wrap up this week's show. But just a reminder, all throughout the playoffs, to stay up to date on what's going on in the Major Arena Soccer League, be sure to check out the league's different social media outlets. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See you next week.